We've got a roundtable about ensuring game stability, how to find, monitor, and fix issues in your game with Firebase Crashlytics. So do we have Sam and oh, hello, there we are. Hey, Sam and Elena, come to the stage, please. A round of applause for our folk here doing our roundtable panel.
Hey, everyone, and thanks so much for coming. I'm Elena Doty. I'm here with my colleague, Sam Edson, and we are both engineers on Firebase Crashlytics. Firebase Crashlytics is one of the leading mobile crash reporting SDKs. We work on iOS, Android, Unity, Android ADK, and Flutter, and expanding to more platforms as we speak, hopefully. We're here today to talk a little bit about why crash reporting is an essential part of building and maintaining a successful game, and also about how Crashlytics can help you find, monitor, and fix issues in your game. So, let's talk through why crash reporting is so important. You can have, the greatest game in the world, killer features, a well-thought-out UI, delightful moments, but none of that really matters if your app is crashing. Users just can't get the value they want out of your game, no matter how great it is. And bad reviews are one outcome of a crashy app. A recent study found that 62% of people uninstall apps after a bad experience, like a freeze or a crash. And those bad reviews are likely also driving away future users. Google analyzed the reviews in the Play Store and found that 42% of one-star reviews mentioned app stability and bugs in the review message. On the other hand, users appreciate app quality and stability, and they notice when you put in effort to build a high-quality app. But I think most of us would agree that app quality is important, especially in games. The big question really is, how do you get there? Many teams rely on QA testing to ensure their app is stable, and that's great for preventing bugs and preventing them from getting to users in the first place. But there are just too many factors. It would be nearly impossible to test all the devices, operating systems, and network conditions that your game runs on. There will always be something that you just didn't test. So just like an analytics system helps you analyze your app and what's going on, a crash reporting system can help you understand and take control of your game's stability. So let's take a look at how this works. Floodit is one of our team's demo apps. It's a strategy game where players try to flood the whole game board with one color in as few steps as possible. This game is released on Android and iOS. Each platform has its own code base. So the first step toward using a crash reporter, obviously, is installing it. And for Crashlytics, this is done in just a few lines of code. Because of our different code bases, each platform, iOS and Android, has its own Crashlytics dashboard, and that's what we see up here. We see all the events that Crashlytics captured in our games, and we can use that to analyze what's happening in the games. We see how many users are experiencing crashes, determine trends and event rates over time, and also figure out what the most common crashes in the game are, as well as what's causing them. This is one of the most useful features of Crashlytics. We call it grouping. This lets us display an issues list, as seen on the bottom, of the most common crashes in your game, so that you can figure out which ones are impacting the most users or are happening in the most impactful moments. So capturing crashes and displaying them to you is obviously the point of a crash reporter, but there's so much more we can do. This is where what we call non-fatal events come in handy. These are also known as custom exceptions, and they're events that you choose to log in your code. This can occur anytime anything unexpected happens, giving you a look into any undesirable states the app lands in, even if they don't lead to a crash. This helps you understand what the user is experiencing throughout your app, especially in poor situations. So to give an example, one place we often recommend using these is in try-catch loops, or try-catch blocks, sorry. These handled exceptions, as well as anything else you choose to display, are treated similarly to crashes, in that they show up in this dashboard, grouped, as well as aggregated over time. Another thing that we propose as a great feature for game developers is custom logs and keys. This feature lets you record information from areas of your gameplay or from your general app lifecycle that you just want to know more about. When combined with non-fatal events, custom keys can help you understand what led to bad app states. In Floodit, we've used custom keys to set the game mode type, such as quick play or progressive, and to make a note of what level the user is on. Then, when an event comes in with these custom keys, we can see them in the dashboard. We can also filter events by custom key or log. And this helps us get an overview of how to retrace an issue and recreate what happened in the app. So in addition to these general features, Crashlytics is also investing in helping mobile game developers spend less time worrying about app stability and more time working on the actual game. So let's dive into 2 of our recent improvements.
Let's see. There we go. Can everyone hear me? Great. Anyone here use Unity to develop games? If you do, great. So Crashlytics has been working on a lot of things to improve the experience for Unity developers. The first thing I want to show you is, I think, what a typical crash for a Unity game looks like, and specifically a game running IL2 CPP. So what you see here is kind of interesting. It actually looks a lot like C++ code. And so if you're a developer or if you have developers on your team and they're using a crash report or even getting crashes in the game as they develop it, this is often what it's going to look like. So the reason for that is because Unity has this IL2 CPP compiler. What this compiler is doing is taking your C# code and converting it to C++ and then compiling that for your game. And so what that means is your game, written in another language that's a little easier to use, is actually going to run super, super fast on these mobile platforms. And this is really great for your game speed. Really what you want, though, for your developers is the code that they wrote when they see a crash. And so we introduced a system in Crashlytics that we call prettification. And it essentially takes the crashes that you're getting in native code, and it tries to convert them back to the C# code that your developers wrote or that you wrote. So if we take a look at one of these finalized stack traces, you'll see that it shows, C# files. It shows a much cleaner stack trace without a bunch of extra, unnecessary lines of code. The other area that we're going to talk about for Unity is metadata. So we talked earlier about how there are custom keys that you can instrument in your game to segment your crashes. But one thing about custom keys is that you have to implement them manually. And so one of the things we found is that Unity developers will often run into issues with, say, specific graphics cards or something about the environment that caused a crash, and they didn't instrument a custom key or anything for that. And so Crashlytics introduced game-specific Unity metadata here, so that whenever you get a crash, you're getting a lot of this stuff by default. So this can be helpful, say you're running on a Samsung device, they're known for, running custom hardware and things that can just cause crashes that you had no idea about originally. Switching gears one more time, we're going to talk about Android and app not responding. So app not respondings are something you very much want to prevent in your mobile game. And you've probably all seen these if you have an Android phone. You're running a game, you're running an app, and it says whatever app is not responding. And these are especially bad, and we would actually classify these as worse than crashes because the user is actually stuck for about up to 5 seconds. And so you'll get an ANR whenever you're holding up the main thread of the app for more than 5 seconds. So as of Android 11 and later, Crashlytics is capturing ANRs by default for games, regardless if you're running Unity or not, and they'll report these to you along with the other metadata. Great. So that kind of wraps things up. Hopefully this talk kind of gives you an idea of what crash reporting is, why it can be helpful for your mobile game, and just give you a sense of how these tools help you, take control of your app stability. If you want to come check us out, you can go to firebase.google.com. In addition, we're running a booth over in the main hall, and we're also available here right now for questions if you have any. So thanks a bunch.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions here for Sam and Elena? Oh, here we go.
Hi, Dennis from Epic Store Interactive. We use Unity for development.
Nice.
We can't, for the life of us, get our Unity crashes symbolicated. We can't even tell if the symbols upload worked or is correlated with the correct version. Do you have any plans to kind of ease the pain there? Because we can't figure out how to get it working at all.
Are you on Android or iOS?
It's Android that's not symbolicated.
Android is probably the problem. So I think we're working on things right now on iOS. We're working on like a drag and drop system for uploading symbols, and we've been talking about bringing that to Android as well. But we released a CLI to upload symbols, and if you're using that, I think that's probably the most recommended way to do it now. A lot of folks in the past instrumented Gradle configurations to do this, and it's kind of hacky. Unity a lot of times like deletes it if you change the template. So if you're not using the CLI, we recommend that. But definitely like something we've been hearing that it's hard to tell what's been uploaded on Android, and we have a nice system for it on iOS. So good feedback. We're going to bring that to the team.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for our speakers? I'd like to just ask, I'm not a developer myself. What's your model? Is it a subscription service? Is that how people...
So Crashlytics is actually free.
Okay.
We charge for very specific things, like if you'd like all your crash data in a BigQuery export, that's the one area. But really the goal of the product is to actually just help the mobile ecosystem as a whole. And so it's a part of Firebase. And there's actually a lot of products that are a part of Firebase. We just happen to be one of the free ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a minute or two. Can you just tell us a little bit more about Firebase generally? What are the other services that are provided? How does it plug into the ecosystem?
You want to do this one?
Yeah, so Firebase actually has a wide range of tools. We focus on monitoring, which is, you release your app, you want to know how it's doing. And so that's, Crashlytics is the main one here. We also have Firebase performance monitoring, which is also monitoring, given the name. That focuses more on like app quality, so startup time, metrics like that. And then on the back end, we have some services to help you build the app from the ground up. One of those is login. So we have Firebase Auth, which helps you, simplify your onboarding flow for users. I think that supports, login with Google, definitely. I think Apple as well, and then, your basic email and phone number sign-in. And then we also offer database services just to ease, storing data. Like, you don't need to do that yourself. You can use Firebase SDKs instead. So yeah, I think we have a wide range of products across the spectrum. Anything you'd want to add to that?
No, I think you got it.
That's good. And it ties into something we were talking about earlier in the afternoon about how there's so many tools available to developers that sometimes they don't even know about, but that are right there to take away the pain, that they can just get on with game design. Well, look, I'll tell you what, if they have any further questions about Crashlytics or about anything to do with Firebase, I guess they can come and find you out in the main expo hall, or you're probably on Meet to Match as well, I guess. You've got, and there they can send you a message maybe.
We've got a booth out there.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Great. Okay, let's do that. So round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you.